What's a D move you still haven't quite gotten over? Alright. This was back in 1994 to 1995 or something like that. So no internet or online delivery purchases. Also, I don't live in a country where it was easy to find geeky stuff. Me and my best friend, both 13 years old, went out to the big city to see a movie and visit some geeky stores to buy canned products. Right before we had to leave to get back home, we see this small store and some big boxes in front of it. We go in and see they just got a huge shipment. We were out of money at this point. We talk to this nice store owner and he says we can pick whatever we want and he will put it aside for us to come pick it up the next day. We each chose like 5 things, not the same stuff, so we could share it afterwards with each other, and got back home. We asked my dad to get to the store and pick it up the next day. Around noon I get a call from my dad, who drove there just for this. He said, I got to the store but the owner said that the other kid and his dad were there right when he opened and already took the package. Being naive, I called my friend and told him, why didn't you tell me you are going there? I would have told my dad not to go. Never mind. When can I come over to give you the money and take my half? To this he replied, it's all mine. I bought it, hung up the phone and never talked to him again. A buddy in high school wanted to borrow my guitar. I had gotten a new Les Paul Studio as a gift and didn't play my old Fender Strat as much, so he asked to borrow the Strat. Several weeks go by without me asking about it or anything until one day all our other bandmates keep giggling and whispering around me and I finally ask what's up. Ends up that he traded my guitar for a Far-Eter Epiphone semi-hollow body to some douche. I was furious and asked him to trade it back and he said the dude he traded with had moved away. I wanted to badly to beat him down until my fists were broken, but he was a 5-year friend and I just couldn't. He offered me the Epiphone and I told him I didn't want it. We continued to play in the same band together until we all graduated and I haven't really spoke much to him since. I hope he thinks about what he did sometimes and realizes what a D move it was. My high school crush and I went on 3 dates. On the last one we finally kissed, my first. I walked her home. She said this was fun. Let's do it again. Then she went around telling everyone she knew how awful it was and how she hated me. Teenagers can be horrible people. I was a new and naive salesperson for a tech company. After working months to land a huge federal sales deal, my boss took the account for himself 2 weeks before it closed. I got half commission for the first order, and nothing for the millions in orders that followed. It literally cost me $1 million. I moved in with my dad and stepmom the last 2.5 years of high school after not having a steady relationship with them for most of my life. I have tons of stories, but probably the worst thing they did was, the last Christmas I lived with them, they made plans to take their kids to visit family in Colorado and told me I had to find somewhere else to stay while they were gone. I asked why I wasn't invited and they said that they didn't think I'd want to miss work. I stayed with a friend from work that had her own place. I called them on Christmas and left a message saying Merry Christmas. Didn't get any response. I called the day they were supposed to be back in town and they informed me they didn't actually go out of town. Their plans fell through. They just never bothered to tell me. Obviously they didn't want me around, but it was extremely hurtful and I feel like I'll never get over their treatment of me. We haven't talked in 11 years other than for a few minutes at my grandma's funeral, and I avoid them if I see them in public. Eater. I moved in with them because I became a ward of the state due to my mom's neglect and drug use. Not because of anything I did. I thought I'd rather go there than a foster home with strangers. When I was younger, my mom, aunt, and I would have a weekly girls' night out where we would go out and eat and run some errands. We were eating at Pizza Hut and 8 or 9-ish-year-old me was telling my mom and aunt about something I was obviously really excited about. Boy bands. Titanic. Pokemon. Hell if I know, because I've slept since then. My aunt proceeded to interrupt me, look me dead in the eyes, and said, J7X. No one cares. I may not remember what I was so excited about, but I'll always remember how that sentence made me feel. Made me very hesitant to talk to people about my interests for a long time. Was having a hard time mental health wise. Had a minor meltdown at work that was witnessed by a supervisor. I wasn't violent, just upset and crying. I wound up taking a few weeks off work and going into the hospital. Apparently, the supervisor went and told other co-workers while I was gone, and I was treated with hostility by most for years afterwards. They couldn't fire me for having mental health issues, so they just made me feel like crap until I went away. My technical school, high school level, but a year longer and gives a job qualification, had an extremely homophobic staff. I was told that I have to cut my long hair because they don't want to associate with that. I'm a guy, but I'm not gay. Actually, you know how kids are. No one is telling me what to do, and the school had no power to force me to change my hairstyle. They tried to claim it's part of the school dress code, but I went around that by keeping it in a ponytail. Then they decided, alright, be what you want, but you're barred from entry to school events. I agreed just to have a peace of mind. At that point I was 2 years into this war. Then comes the final year, final grades. My favorite teacher looks at my grades and says, I'd like to give you the highest grade, but it says in the rules that you have to have some effort or work done in the name of the school, but you didn't attend any events. So, I was livid and I'm still pissed. I felt like Caesar, since I really ducking liked the teacher. He gave me 1 grade below perfect even though I worked my ass off. Based on some ducking technicality that barely anyone abides to. Duck that guy and duck that school. That hairstyle costed me my trust and respect and authority, and I still keep it long. Every time I shorten it I feel like there's a lesson I will lose if I cut too much. My aunt taking a piece of fried chicken away from my plate arguing I was too fat, had eaten enough. I was just like 6 years old, but I felt so upset I stood from the table and went to sit in the car. It happened about 30 years ago, and I can't get over it. I was doing some creative writing in my high school math class. The teacher noticed me scribbling notes down more than usual, so she asks me what I'm doing. Shy and embarrassed, I lie and tell her that I was just writing down what she said. She walks over, reads what I've written, rips it out of my notebook, calls me a liar in front of the whole class, and then rips the pages up and throws the shreds in my face. Thanks for that memory, Kristen Love. Itch. My father was a delusional prick who would beat me for things I didn't do, often in front of my other siblings, especially things I supposedly did to my youngest sibling who was clearly his favorite. My youngest sibling bought into this favoritism hook, line and sinker and grew up into a lying, waifing pose who would then feed him lies about things I did, so he could come and beat me some more. I don't know who I am more mad at. My father for feeding her this bullet all through adulthood, so he created the cancer, or my sister who I knew was smart enough to know it was ducked up, who decided to join in on the kill you best garbage person game. I'm no contact with all of them. I honestly cannot remember all the horrible things they did to me. It's like I've forgotten in order to survive. Context: I have cerebral palsy, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to walk. One day, the other kids were playing dodge at recess and I wanted to be included. Of course, the popular kids put me on the itty team, for obvious reasons. Naturally, it wasn't long before I was eliminated. Oh well, I was having a good time. Normally, when you eliminate someone, you celebrate a bit. The kid who eliminated me started celebrating, and then one of his teammates says, "What's the big deal? Module knee isn't a big loss for them. Duck that guy." For my graduation, I was so excited for my extended family to come out because we'd been talking about it for months. We get closer to the date, and they say they definitely can't come because money is tight. I'm sad, but I get it. Fast forward to the day before graduation and I see pictures of all of them on vacation in Arizona, not where they're from. I cried a lot that day, and still get really upset when I think about it. I had been dealing with a lot of personal issues one year during high school. My sister had BPD and my mom and her were drug addicts. I had no friends because stress made me an arsehole to people and my house was a war zone. I had this arsehole math teacher named Mr. Hum. He was that football coach made to teach math. He let the football team do whatever they wanted and was always creepy with this red-headed girl. One day after a really itty day where I had to walk to school because my bus didn't come, had soaked my clothes in sweat, I asked him for help with a problem. He got real close to my face and said maybe if you paid attention then you wouldn't need help. I had an A in that class and always slept through the parts I knew because I couldn't sleep at home. I still remember his ducking smile while he said that, like he'd been waiting for this. We were on the 3rd floor, so I spent the rest of the class fantasizing about tossing him out the window. I've never wanted to kill someone until that moment. I've also never wished that a person lose everything before, but that one moment really epitomizes what those 2 years were like. It still ducking burns me to think about it. I hope he wastes his entire life in that town and never enjoys any of it. My dad wanted me to get into some government job, preferably army. I didn't and chose the IT industry instead, private sector. I have since worked hard and got a good raise. I thought when I would let my father know that I did well, he would appreciate in some way. His reaction when I told him about it was an insulting chuckle. It hurt a lot at that time and it still does. I had a neighbor once pound on my back door at 9 PM and yell at me for watching a movie, alone, at normal volume. Told me to respect your neighbors and also threatened to beat me up over it in the same sentence. My ex was telling his best friend, while I was only a few feet away, a way to sort of mentally manipulate a woman into wanting to pursue a relationship. It wasn't harmful like negging, but it's still dishonest. I asked if he'd used it on me and he blatantly said that yes, he had. You intrigued me, I wanted you, and I got you. I'm still mad at myself for staying with him as long as I did. My brother literally pulled the rug out from under me when I was about 7. I hit my face on the wall and instantly broke my nose. I'm 32 now and have a crooked nose. My office celebrated my birthday on a hot day with ice cream cake. I found out about it when I returned to the office later that day after helping clean up outside. They didn't even save me a slice. Eater. They told me it was for my birthday. I'm not making any assumptions. MT friend not giving me a ride home when we live 5 minutes away from each other. He didn't even have a reason why. He just didn't want to. I ended up walking home in nothing but a t-shirt and jeans on a winter night. My boyfriend's car broke down. We took it to a mechanic and found out it had cost $700. His mother paid for it without consulting us and is now telling us that we owe her $700. Because I'm tired of having to re-clarify over and over again. Yes, we are paying her back. We'll figure it out. I appreciate her intentions and all that. But it's a responsibility neither me or my partner wanted. We could have handled it on our own. Yes, it's rich, but again, we'll deal with it. The D move was her not consulting us before paying for it. She had done this with us before, so even if we told her no, like we did the first time, she would have done it anyways. She got annoyed because we don't have the money to pay her back. Again, we would have told her no if she wanted the money back ASAP. She knew what the answer would be, but did it anyways. We offered to give her the car as payment or to hold on to until we paid it back. She refused. We offered a payment plan. Doesn't want that, but it's the only option right now. No, I would not be posting about her if she did not pay for the car. In fact, she isn't obligated to help us. I again appreciate that she did. Don't think I didn't. I was just answering the question. To me was a D move regarding the intention behind. Konami cancelling Silent Hills. They had the gaming world on their feet. I just don't get it as corporate decision, neither less as a potential consumer. I was in 3rd grade and it was hot dog day. My friend and I decided to buy more chocolate milk, so we went down to the activity room where they were selling it. On the way I was hit by a heavy metal door opening and I went flying sideways across the hall. It was a teacher's aide who had opened the door. I remember lying there stunned and crying from the pain as people gathered around me, and the teacher's aide was saying she was just flying down the hall at 90 miles an hour. First of all, I hadn't been, even at age 8. I realized that even if I had been running, how would she know that? The door hit me before she even saw me, and it was just an accident. I knew she didn't hit me with door on purpose. So while I remember telling my mom, who sort of understood and was like there kind of thing. I remember feeling defeated that no one would believe me over a teacher's aide, and an adult lied. That was a first for me. Ugh. Even 32 years later that irritates me. What a jerk. My cousin blew out my candies at my birthday party when I turned 7. Duck you. So this happened when I was in 7th grade. My uncle was going to Florida for 2 days to go see some family and he asked if I wanted to go. I wasn't sure at first because he was going on a school day, but I couldn't turn down a free flight to Florida, so I agreed to go. The flight was set to be at 4:15 p.m. a few hours after I came back from school, and my uncle said he would be at my house by the time I got back. So come the day of the flight, I'm walking from the bus stop to my house and I see a car which looks exactly like my uncle's pull out from my house and drive away. Immediately I run to my house thinking that he forgot about me. I bolt inside and ask my mom why he left without me. According to my mom, my uncle said, "Oh, he's gonna come home too late and he's not even sure if he wants to go." Hearing this made my heart drop. I was seriously about to cry. To add salt in the wound, my mom also said my uncle ended up taking my sister with him. I felt so betrayed. I ended up going to my room and cried myself to sleep. To this day, I still remind my uncle what he did to me, but we laugh about it. Edit. Change before to after.